Thank you for joining us on our Family First Life Tri-State Serve the People podcast. We appreciate you tuning in, spending your time to develop and grow with us. Follow us, please, on all our social media platforms at Family First Life Tri-State or FFL Tri-State. We love you. Keep listening, and I hope this information is serving you across the country. All right, everybody, thank you for jumping on to our Family First Life Tri-State Training Day podcast. I got my longtime good buddy and just savage, Brent Abernathy. I don't even know what your level, like, it's getting real, Brent, when you start helping, 1,200 plus families a month, and it's crazy. Or, no, 12,000 families a month.
12,000.
Yeah, so it's just, I don't know what that level is. But I do know you've been here day one. I know you've been riding since day one. I know that you helped lay down the walls and the blueprint for everything we are today. Family First Life Gulf Coast was one of the first logos that I remember seeing, and just seeing how cool that surf deal looked, and was like, yeah, we're going somewhere. So, you've been, at the forefront of most of the stuff we've done, from everything, And it's just an honor to have you on the podcast, watching your journey through the years. We've connected on so many levels through so many different seasons. And now to, again, see where you are and see what you've done. And, I think this is there's a story I'm excited to listen to. So welcome to the podcast, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome, man. I appreciate you having me. It has been a blessing, man. It's been 8 years, and I look back from day one, and I've told you this, and hopefully everybody that's listening to this appreciates, you talk about laying the foundation and being there since day one. And I can 100% without a shadow of a doubt say that Family First Life wouldn't be where Family First Life is today. Obviously without Sean Mike's leadership, but if I could pick one other person, it would be you, man, because of what you did from day one and how you set the standard. You went out there and raised the bar and opened a lot of our eyes as to what was possible, how many families we could go help on a weekly and a monthly basis, that some of us, me included, didn't realize that it was possible at that point in time. And so I have a lot to be appreciative. We all have a lot to be appreciative of you for that. So,
well, I would reciprocate that, man. I mean, you guys were the best team. You guys were the best team. Watching you guys move with and without the ball was magical. You know what I mean? Just, the way you guys just utilize each other's strengths, and everyone kind of stayed in whatever lane they were good at, and not try to be the jack of all trades, backing up and putting someone in. Like, I didn't know how to do that. So watching you, Mike, John, do some of the things that you guys did, and watch you catch fire with people. I mean, you guys had an army of people. I mean, it was just nonstop people coming in, and, all of y'all played a huge part in that. But I think, you played a huge part in that, from you playing on real teams, playing professional baseball, and understanding different roles. And, when I think back to convention, you're one of my favorite speakers. The story you told of playing on good teams, playing on bad teams, and understanding, like, the difference, and how, if you're on everybody at the end of the year on the bad team was just trying to up their batting average, and trying to keep their ERA down, and trying to make the best catches, but you all were losing a bunch of games. And then the best teams, everyone was willing to lay it out for each other. And that's what I saw with FFL Southeast and FFL Gulf Coast, is what you guys were able to do there. So, dude, I'm thrilled to get into this, But what I'd like to know to start off is, during some of the early years, as we were building this company, but from your vantage point, some of the things that we had to do that were very sacrificial to get this thing off the ground. What's your vantage point for that from then, and then how do you look at that today?
Man, and that's a great question. And I think at first it's important to understand and recognize that maybe some people saw where we could take this company, and some people saw, like right now, right? You've got the integrity, opportunity, all that sort of stuff that every single person on this call can grow their business and have a sellable business and partner, right? Back at day one, I'm just being honest and transparent. Dude, I was just blowing and going and just trying to pay my bills. You know what I mean? And I did not fully realize what scope of the opportunity in this insurance industry and this vehicle that we have with Family First Life. I didn't know. I knew I was on a great team, like you mentioned. Somebody might say, well, how'd you know that early? Well, because I knew that, those 8, 10, 15 people, we were all in it together. We were fighting, we were scratching, we were clawing, we were helping each other. We were learning from each other. I knew we were all in it together, and we all wanted each other to win. So that's what let me know right away that it was going to be a team to be reckoned with. Right. But as far as how far we would go with it, and obviously I still say we've just begun, we got so much more to accomplish. Right. But dude, my eyes, I had blinders on. I was more just focused on the here and now and paying the bills with some of the stuff that we went through. One insurance company, no lead vendors, I mean, it was just, so we were all learning together. Yeah. But I wish early on, Mark, and I don't know about you, but I do wish early on that I had understood quicker or sooner what we could all do with this opportunity and how big we could take it. Because I didn't. And it took.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Because you played the way when I watched it, you were playing like you understood it. But then when I think about it, I didn't understand it. So as you said that, I'm like, did I understand it? I'm like, I don't think I understood it either. And that's why I'm asking, because I want to get into like, so what does that actually mean?
Well, I mean, I think a couple things. Number one, you hear people say, the light at the end of the tunnel or whatever, right? Like, what's the end game?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that. Yeah.
And so I didn't really know what the end game was. I just knew that we were having success. I knew we were helping a lot of people, help more families than they had helped, right, in the past, and go out and provide a living and an income for their families at the same time. I knew we were doing well. I knew we were, setting the insurance space on fire, and I knew we were doing a lot of good things, Mark. But I also think quite frankly, complacency can set in when you're doing very well, right? And I had it happen to me plenty of times in baseball. I saw it happen to plenty of other athletes. They reach this level and they think, oh, well, I've arrived, or I'm here, or whatever. And they don't keep focusing on getting better every single day and, progress. And so I think, to me, like when I said that, that's more what it was about. And unfortunately, there were times of complacency setting in for me. And I don't think those would have happened if I had known the scope of what we had on our hands. Because I think complacency is about the most evil thing you can have in business.
Evil. That's a great word.
Well, I mean, but here's the other thing too, Mark. My why had to change. I had to grow. Okay. So like initially my why was, you hear people talk about it all the time, but my why was maintaining the multiple 6-figure income lifestyle that we had created through baseball, right? For my 2 little girls and my wife. That's what it was. That was my why. And then over time it went to, okay, well, how can we get ahead? Not just pay our bills. How can we get ahead? And then it went to, okay, how much can we give back? How much can we donate? Right. Okay, now it's how many more people can we help get to that point? Right. So that why is constantly growing. But for it to grow, you've got to have that vision for it to grow too, right? And I didn't have the vision back then. So my why, I wasn't constantly growing my own personal vision for FFL Gulf Coast or for myself and my family. And I think a lot of it just had to do with not fully having a scope or understanding what we had our hands on.
Got it. Very interesting. I could spend time here because it's just like it's and people can grow from what you're saying. You know, you're basically saying because I didn't have the overall vision, it shrunk my micro vision. I didn't have the macro vision, so it shrunk my micro vision. Yes?
100%.
Very deep. If someone was struggling with that, or if someone heard that and said, "Man, that's me," what would you say to them?
What I would say is expand your why, expand your vision. And you might say, well, how do I do that? Set your mind towards accomplishing things for other people. See, I think a lot of times, Mark, what people do is they focus so much on themselves and their own situations that when you really expand that thought process into helping other people, how many families can I help, or how much money can I donate, or how many agents can I help get to a certain level, whatever. When you expand that, what ends up happening, at least it did for me, is my individual vision, my individual goals, my individual, all that stuff. I raised the bar there, and so I started accomplishing things that I never really thought about, but that are really, really cool. When you can start impacting other people, and personally, you reap the rewards from that on a personal level,
Sure.
right? But it's so much cooler, and just expand it. Try challenge yourself. I mean, do you think, Mark, when I was in high school or a kid growing up playing baseball, I mean, I had plenty of people telling me, you're never going to play in the major leagues. You're too small.
Right.
You're not, you're not strong enough, all this sort of stuff. I did, but I didn't listen to that junk. Right. I didn't. I was like, hey, I know the game. I'm going to work my tail off, and I'm sure as heck, I don't know if I'm going to make it, but I'm sure as heck going to give it a darn good run. Right. And so why would this be any different? Like, let's set our sights on the top of the line, no matter whether it's a brand new agent or whether it's somebody who's been around for 4 or 5 years. Set your sights on the top of the line, do the work, put the work, the time, enjoy the process to getting there. Right. And you'll look up, maybe it'll be 4 months from now, maybe it'll be a year from now. I don't know how long it'll take, but you'll look up and you'll be like, dang, we accomplished some pretty darn cool things.
Right. How long was that season for you of redefining your why to the greater we, if you will?
I mean, it's constantly evolving every day now still, but it took me probably four years, 4 to 5 years to really understand that. And I can go into, there were plenty of reasons why it took me that long. I think a lot of it had to do with surrounding myself. I've always been surrounded and blessed to be surrounded by a lot of great people that have good mindsets, things like that. But there were also times where I was maybe talking to the wrong people, Mark, and letting too much of the negativity filter into here and filter into my thought process. And then all of a sudden I look up and I'm like, man, I spent this whole year worrying about and focusing on things I can't control. And so that kind of maybe delayed that process, but it was a lot of self-reflecting. It was a lot of looking at myself and realizing what I needed to do to make changes, and who I needed to surround myself with, and focus, like I said, focus on the things that I can control, which is truly in our business, it's really just your attitude and your activity, and I wasted a lot of time and mental energy on the wrong things.
We're about to write a book, dude. Because I definitely had my seasons of that. You know what I mean? Like wasting a lot of time on stuff that was incontrollable and that just wasn't going to make a difference at the end of the day. And when you get to the bottom of that and you realize this is such a game of giving back, like the times you're trying to control things, you're thinking about you. I'm speaking from where I've been. I'm thinking about me. If I'm trying to control something, Brent, it's because I want an outcome for me. Does that make sense? If I'm letting it fly, now that's a different ballgame. That's me not worrying about the outcome because I have no control over it. Big difference. There's a lot of headspace there, bro. I mean, my control season of or getting out of it was probably 2-3 years. And you know what? The good thing about the growth at Family First Life is because it's growing, you have a mirror to look into. If it wasn't growing, bro, we'd be like, nah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I've reached the mountaintop. I understand, but it's growing. That means that there's constantly people that are, that are doing great things, and there's always people ahead of you. There's always people that are where you want to be, or where you are at, trying to get to where you are and go ahead, which is not technically the game of comparison, because you're still playing a one-of-one game. But the mirror, Brent, the mirror's the game. But again, if every time you look in the mirror, there was no wrinkles, you weren't getting any older, there was no grays, bro, you think you found the fountain of youth. But when you look in the mirror and you see like a wrinkle here, some grays on the beard, or some grays in that, you're like, man, dude, this Father Time thing is real. So then things start to change. You start to change maybe the way you eat, or the way you work out, or the way you know what I'm saying, like what times you eat, because you have to adjust to what's happening in real life. So it is great perspective. Because
let me share one other thing on that too, because I think it's important. Like I mentioned the word complacency earlier, Mark, and I got to a point and I realized one big change I made. I had to do some self-reflecting, but some of the agents that have been around maybe for a while and have kind of been stagnant or haven't been growing like the company is growing, so to speak. One thing I looked at, I was just going through the motions, Mark, at one point in time. Like, for instance, if you get on a training call, right, instead of actively listening to a call, you're just on, right? You're checking the box. Hey, I'm here, right? And you just don't go through things with the same intensity. That activity, whatever it is that you're putting in, whether it's getting on training calls, whether it's dialing, whether it's getting leads, whether it's helping agents, whatever, you get to a point where if you've become complacent, you don't do it with the same intensity as you do when you're hungry, right? Like you're starving and it's a completely new day. So if someone who's been around for a while and maybe you're not where you want to be, no big deal, right? But just think to yourself, are you being as intense with what you're doing every single day and as intentional with what you're doing every single day that you were when you first started?
And that could be for somebody who's been with us a month,
100%.
Right? And I mean, because they could have been through a season of life that was very stagnated, and now they came here scared of not even believing it'll work or praying to God it'll work, and maybe not putting in the necessary activity for it to work, but just seeing other people around them have success, thinking that by osmosis they're going to grow. And the reality is like you said, are you putting in the activity? Are you intently putting in the activity to grow it the way that you say you want to, right? So now, Brent, you've been through so many seasons, but also you've had wild success. You've had a perch that has allowed you to see so many managers inside your group grow. You've seen what's worked. You've seen what's not worked. You've rebuilt organizations. You might be one of the better dudes in the company at taking a group and driving that thing so deep that it grows to, helping 500, 750, 1,000 families a month. And you've got to see all of that. From your vantage point, what's been successful for new agents and what has been successful for growing agencies?
Yeah. So for new agents, Mark, couple things. Number one, trying to keep things as simple as possible. Too many people overcomplicate this deal. And we, in my agency, we have focused on the blocking and tackling, so to speak, the very basic things. It's get good at getting leads, get good at getting on the phone, get good inside the home. Everything else will take care of itself, right? So I don't overcomplicate. I do my best, I should say, to not overcomplicate things for new agents. I want to get them moving. get them on the phone, inside the home. And I know that I want to get them paid fast. Okay. Because if they go out and help a family and they see commissions go into their account from the insurance company, now all of a sudden their belief level goes through the roof,
No
not
doubt.
only in what we do and who we are, but also in themselves. Right. And so biggest thing is keep it simple and get moving, right? For new agents, like don't overanalyze it, just go, and you've got people, you've got a good support system around you to help you. And as far as agencies, Mark, I think the big thing that I've had to learn how to do, and there are two things. One is, and you mentioned it earlier, I have been good at figuring out whose strengths are where and whose weaknesses are where, right? And I'm okay. I don't have too big of an ego to say, hey, I got to be the end all be all, right? I'm okay with pointing, manager X in this direction because I think in another person's direction because I think it might help them more. They might relate more. That's their strength, whatever. So I'm okay with doing that. And then the other thing, dude, is again, and this goes back to the work part, is you got to get out in front of people. I know these last couple of years have been a little bit different with everything that's going on in the world or whatever, but it's like, this is a kneecap to kneecap business. And if you want to help some people grow a big agency, you got to get face to face with them. If they're at a distance, you got to go help them, go get to know them. Right. I mean, how are you going to help somebody if you don't even know where they come from, Mark? Like if I've got an up and coming manager and, they're struggling with something, how am I going to know how to coach them if I don't know what their background is or what they've been through or what their parents did when they were growing up?
Right.
That type of stuff. And the only way you can get that, it's over time, but it's also face to face. So it's funny to me, man. It's funny to me seeing people across the country say they want to grow it big, but yet they never leave their house. And it's like I don't have patience for that. I mean, it's like, come on, man. I mean, you're going to see every last one of your kids' games or your daughter's dance recitals or whatever, and say you want to grow a multi-million-dollar agency and help a bunch of people. I mean, now, again, Mark, look, you get to a point where, you can set your schedule to the point where maybe you don't miss some of that stuff. But dude, I know you got 2 kids. I got 2 kids. I mean, we've missed a lot, but it's all been worth it in the end. And it's been because we've been out serving families and face to face with agents.
No doubt. I think there's definitely 2 sides to, well, there's a lot of sides to legacy, but from what we're saying is you have your family and you have your life's work. What we're doing from an agency standpoint and pouring into people is part of that life's work. So I don't think either go neglected. I get it. You have to get out there. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to do things sometimes you thought you wouldn't have to do, or sometimes things that are inconvenient. I mean, but it's like growing to different levels of uncomfortability, Brent. Like we've all grown to multiple levels of uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable right now. You know what I mean? Like it's just so many times that the bar keeps raising on the level of uncomfortability of what we should be doing or what we need to do to go and serve more people and have more capacity to make impact. When you think about, where you are today, Brent, and just, knowing all you've put in so many years, you have so much experience that, you could figure some things out pretty fast, working with people, and we can troubleshoot people's situations relatively quickly, but, Integrity Marketing Group, your group is there, and you guys are looking at that opportunity. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to your agency? What are some things that you've looked at when it comes to Integrity Marketing Group and your group rolling into that?
Mark, I think and you mentioned earlier the fact I've been on a lot of teams, right? And I've been on a lot of bad teams. And I've been on good teams. The Olympic gold medal winning team was I mean, wasn't the best talent, but it was a darn good team. And, when I see Integrity Marketing Group, the first thing that comes to my mind is I'll be on the best team there can possibly be in the insurance space, right? And not only with all the partners we have with FFL, but there's just so much knowledge there from the marketing side of things, from the sales side of things, from the lead side. There's just so much knowledge there that that now you have at your disposal. From the agency side of things, and obviously, look, I'm not gonna pull any punches. It's great for me and my family, and
100%.
100% as far as security and
Well deserved.
that type of stuff, and I appreciate that. But dude, where my head's at right now is how many more people can we take there? And those are the conversations I'm having with my managers. And that's the big thing from the agency perspective is it's like, I'm starting to look at things now on not necessarily from how many families have we helped per month, right? But it's like, was this month a success? The only way I see this month being a success is if we got more people in our group closer to reaching that integrity marketing, right? That family. And that's all I'm focused on every single day. And dude, it's going to be so cool for me. As cool as going through the process is for myself and my family, I cannot wait to see some of my managers go through. And I know that's something you've experienced. And, some of my managers reach that same partnership.
No doubt. I have a lot of memories, but I have one that, maybe epitomizes this call and some of the things we talked about. When we were in New York and we were doing the volleyball / rope tug of war. Dude, I saw some crazy leadership. I mean, so to paint the picture real quick, you got some real, you got two sides of this coin. You got Sean Mike's on another side, me, you, Killamit, Wetmore, I think Andrew Paul, like some of these guys, Ruggiero. So it's like we're on the other side, and we're playing a game of volleyball against these guys. And you and I are on the same team, and I watched so closely and intently because y'all had worked together for a long time. And I was on your team for this particular, and I'm looking to work with the team so we can win. But I see the chemistry, man, and I see how quick the deference to Mike went, and how quickly he strategized something simplistic that would win. I mean, even from the underhand volley, to the overhand volley, and it was like, the lineup and how quickly people got into position and how quickly y'all found weaknesses on the other side and knew how to exploit them. I was like, yo, this is crazy. These guys, this is what they've been doing for years. I said, yo, this is great chemistry. Now I'm an outsider because I'm not in those meetings every day, but I'm watching. I'm like, wow. Like, I knew that dad a lot. I knew that dad needed to grow a lot from a leadership standpoint and my ability to influence and impact, different sectors, But it was just amazing to see how much chemistry you guys had. And honestly, Brent, to me, there's, when we look back at December 2013 and Sean Mike, building this company from day one, and you being one of those original pillars, along with the Southeast crew and everything that you guys did, the thing that I'll always be great, like unbelievably grateful for, number one, leadership, but number two, just the ability to be a cohesive unit and show the whole country what a cohesive unit could do, because that was the greatest gift to me as a young leader trying to figure out how to lead multiple different personalities, independent people, and, which you grow into it month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year. It's not that, but watching, again, you've played on so many successful teams. You know what winning looks like at the highest level. You can't win an Olympic gold medal and not know what winning looks like at the highest level. So when I look back, whenever I reflect on the journey, and I reflect enough, you know what I mean? It's because, the funnest time typically is when you were getting bloodied. That's the time you look back at and laugh the most, and I'll always look back at that with what you guys were capable, what you guys put together, and what you showed the whole country. And I think everybody played an equal part, man. So I can't thank you enough for all you've done. I can't thank you enough for all you do. I thank you for what you do for the company and just being a pillar from day one at FFL, man. It's an honor to have had you on, brother.
Well, as I said earlier, Mark, you've inspired a lot of people along the way, and I'll share a quick story about you that changed my business. I'll never forget. You're out there helping 10 families a week, every single week, and I come to you and I'm like, man, I just can't get to that point. And you ask me what my schedule is and all this sort of stuff. And long story short, I went into saying to you how I was breaking counties down, and I was trying to run the South End one day and the North End the other, and I was only booking 4 and 5 appointments a day. And you looked me square in the eye and you were like, I mean, you're trying to do this the easy way without the work part, right? And basically I was trying to make it so easy on myself, right? Instead of just saying, you know what, I don't care where the appointments are. I'm booking a full day.
Got it.
And booking 8 to 10 in a day, even if I've got to drive all over the place to go get them. And I was in my comfort zone. I was trying to make it easy and wondering why it wasn't working for me. And that conversation changed my whole business, dude, because then I started going out and helping over 30 families a month, which gave me the cash flow to put back into the business.
Amen.
So, dude, I love you. I appreciate you. It's been a fun ride, and we've got a lot more people to help.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
But when you do reflect, it has been a wild ride. And I love you and your family to death.
Love you too, man. It's good to see your wife down in. It was so good to see Allison down in Miami at the annual convention. Best wishes to you and the family. Thank you for jumping on. I appreciate you, Brent. Thank everybody for listening. Let's make it a big week. Continue to break records. We're smoking stuff right now all across the country, so please get yours, please. Thanks, Brent.